Pain and joy are two opposite emotions. Yet, over the past year, the Perez family felt them both at the same time. On that fateful Simchas Torah morning, Rabbi Doron and Shelley Perez were at home in Yad Binyamin. Their son Yonatan had just gotten engaged to his Kala Galia, and their other son, Daniel, was on active duty as a tank commander in the IDF.
Daniel was in his base, Nachal Oz. Yonatan and his Kala were with us. He was checking the phone and he was seeing, the WhatsApps and the clips and things, and then got a message from the Magad to say, if you can come down to Sderot, come. And he was gone in a matter of seconds. At about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I was resting and the phone was going and going and going and going. And then eventually I woke up and I just looked at the phone and there was all different numbers. And I said to Doron, we better answer it. And he actually went into another room. I just started shaking. And then I went in and I said, what? And he said, Yonatan's okay. Just tell Galia, Yonatan's okay, he's been shot in the leg. All in this time, I didn't really think about Daniel, I must be honest. I kind of said, he's in his tank, he's finally getting to shoot terrorists, and I'm sure he's having the best time. That's what I thought. And suddenly the whole family comes in, and I don't even know who said it. They said they found the tank, the one soldier was dead in the tank. It wasn't the officer or commander, but the other 3 were gone, missing, just gone.
And I think that was that moment that we all, the first very, very painful moment of knowing that Daniel is probably in grave danger.
I was just in a daze, I can't even remember. And then we had the wedding to think about.
We had to cancel the wedding hall, and that was done. The question is were we going to have a small chuppah wedding, within the directives of the home front in Yad Binyamin?
It was obviously a hugely difficult decision, especially, I think, for Yonatan.
They decided, plus her parents, plus us together, that we were all 100% okay with it, despite the circumstances.
When the day of the wedding arrived, Shelley was completely overwhelmed.
I said to Doron, I don't know how I'm going to do this. How am I going to do this? Because I've been crying, obviously. I have this group of friends. There's about 9 of them. And 5 of them kind of did the wedding. The other 3 were looking after me.
Shelley so desperately wanted Daniel to be there and be a part of it. Before she left for the wedding, she walked into his room.
I just said, I've got to go in his room. I'd bought him a suit 2 weeks before, and he'd ordered these super expensive shoes, which was exactly Daniel.
I actually couldn't believe how strong Shelley was. I didn't want to go into Daniel's room. It was too hard for me.
We came out and Doron said to me, this is Yonatan's day. We have to make this about Yonatan.
Her friends and community joined together to create a beautiful wedding despite the painful circumstances.
They turned this high school into a fairyland. As you came in, you got a bracelet, one yellow or red. And they showed you which mamad, which bomb shelter you needed to go if need be. I was in a daze. I just knew I had to get through the chuppah without crying. And then I saw him walk towards her and he was limping, trying not to limp. I remember the simcha of the wedding. The dancing and the simcha of it, it's palpable for me even now.
Even with all the joy a wedding brings, Shelley and Doron never stopped worrying about Daniel.
Someone said to me, maybe he's hiding. I said, I know my son, he is not hiding. There was no ways Daniel would have hidden anywhere.
A few weeks later, Shelley and Doron received a visit from army officials.
They came on the Friday, which is almost 2 weeks later, and basically said, based on evidence they have, his phone being in Gaza and other evidence, they have strong reason to believe that he is taken captive.
Knowing that Daniel was taken captive created a whole new set of worries.
Does Hamas have him? Then we heard people were taken by Islamic Jihad. And then we asked, and they said no. At that point, at the time where they lost connection, it was the Hamas that was there. And in what universe do you say, oh, well, at least he's with Hamas? I remember somebody said they saw the children being taken in cages. So in my mind, then it became Daniel's in a cage. I was totally traumatized. And as time went on, it just got worse and worse.
A few months later, they received the dreaded news.
We heard the news about Daniel, and we heard the news that he'd been killed on the 7th. First of all, for me, a guilty feeling, because there was such a tremendous relief that he'd never been in their hands. He hadn't suffered. Obviously, you feel guilty about it, but I felt like a brick had been lifted off me.
With the news of Daniel's death, Shelley and Doron were now looking for ways to honor his memory and mourn him properly.
They'd found a shirt of his 50 meters from the tank, and it had his blood on it. In the end, that was what we could bury. And without that shirt, we would not have had a grave. It was literally like 5.5 months of absolute torture.
גם את הגופה שלך אין. כל הדרך ארוכה להחזיר אותך הביתה. אבל את דמך, בנינו דניאל, יש הרבה דם.
כשחשבתי על זה לפני החתונה, ידעתי שאין בן אדם אחר שהייתי רוצה שיהיה איתי יותר ממך. עכשיו אני יודע שבאמת היית איתי שם.
My heart is so sore for those mothers and fathers who are waiting.
One day, Shelley came across a Facebook post.
It was a mother, Batsheva Sadan, who had posted this and said that her son, he had been in Gaza for 100 days. And she spoke to him as he came out, and she said, what's the first thing you're going to do when you come home? And he said, I'm going to get a picture of the Beit HaMikdash, and I'm going to put it in our house. He said in every house, in every school, every municipal building, they've got a picture of the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
We even found, when we went to Nachal Oz and we did a ceremony for the tank, I found a cover from a Hamas missile, and it has 2 pictures of Al-Aqsa Mosque in it.
And he said they know what they're fighting for, and we need to be focused on what we are fighting for. And I don't know, it just struck me. It struck me from a point of view of, we need to have this. We need to have it in everybody's home so they know where we're headed.
Shelley's friend Naomi heard about Batsheva's post and Shelley's idea. She decided to run with the project.
She found the picture. She showed it to me. She said, what do you think? Like, it kind of happened. This is the block that we made with this very beautiful picture of the Beit HaMikdash.
And we just wrote this famous quote of our sages from the Yerushalmi, which says that the future redemption starts kim'a kim'a. It starts slowly, just like the rising sun.
She sent a few WhatsApps on the Thursday, and then it was Shabbos. I think by the Sunday there was like 700 orders. We were somehow sending a box to Sderot, and then quickly Naomi would come in and say, we need 50 more for Sderot. Beit Shemesh needed another 100.
It's going all over the world. So we've got orders in London and different states in America. There's in South Africa as well at the moment. We're trying to get this into as many homes as possible.
While the project took off, Shelley and Batsheva never met. And Batsheva had never seen the impact of her post firsthand. We arranged for Batsheva to come over to Shelley's house so they could meet for the first time.
Still not real sometimes, you know.
Sometimes you're just waiting for him to come in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
אנחנו צריכים לדעת בשביל מה. למה אנחנו נלחמים.
כי הם יודעים.
הם יודעים.
They are so focused, they'll do all these terrible, disgusting, despicable things just for the Al-Aqsa Mosque to be theirs. And I thought, like, we need to know what we're fighting for.
אם אנחנו לא נבין את זה, לא ננצח.
As you come into our home, in so many homes, there's an unplastered part of the Beit HaMikdash. Somehow the Beit HaMikdash is always something we're mourning for. But this is a yearning. I mean, yearning and mourning are connected, but it's different. Mourning is mourning a loss. Yearning is yearning for something you want its presence.
We daven every day. V'sechazena eineinu. Let our eyes see. B'shuvcha l'tzion. As you return to Tzion. And we go from mourning to yearning to finally seeing the rebuilding of the Beit HaMikdash. B'mheira b'yameinu. Amen v'yamein.